It's 2009. The economy is on fire. Half the businesses on Main Street are boarding up their windows. And the laundromat on the corner? Busier than it's ever been. Okay, so you want to own a laundromat. I know exactly what you're picturing. A dingy room full of humming machines. A few dollars in quarters trickling in an hour at a time. The most boring, unglamorous business on the block. Here's what nobody tells you. That boring room is one of the only businesses in America that gets busier when the economy gets worse. When people lose their jobs, they don't stop wearing clothes. They just stop being able to afford their own washer, their own dryer, their own repair bill. So they come to you instead. A laundromat isn't selling clean clothes. It's selling access to a machine you can't afford to own. And that single fact is why this dull little room can throw off $100,000 a year in cash, almost entirely in bills nobody can trace. And why almost nobody talks about it? Because the people who own them don't want the secret getting out. By the end of this, you'll know exactly where that cash actually comes from, and the one mistake that turns this quiet machine into a money pit with wet floors. Let me run the napkin math. First, the bait. The part of the pitch that sounds too simple to be true. Here's the pitch you'll hear from the guy selling you the laundromat. You buy the building, or you buy the lease. You bolt 30 washers and dryers to the floor. You put a coin slot or a card reader on each one. And then, you leave. No inventory to spoil. No perishable stock. No employees clocking in at 6 a.m. The machines just run themselves, day and night, while you're at your actual job. It sounds like the closest thing to free money that exists. Water goes in, quarters come out. And it's not entirely a lie. A laundromat really is one of the lowest labor businesses you can buy. Compare it to almost anything else on Main Street. A restaurant, a gym, a nail salon, and the staffing bill alone should make you want to cry. Here, you might need someone to swing by twice a day to empty the coin boxes and mop the floor. That's it. But low labor is not the same thing as no work. And this is where the fantasy starts to crack, because a washer is a machine, and machines break. Bearings wear out. Belts snap. Coin mechanisms jam. Every one of those 30 machines is a piece of industrial equipment running 18 hours a day, every single day. And eventually, every single one of them needs a repair, a part, or a full replacement. The equipment itself is not cheap. A commercial washer-dryer pair can run you several $1,000s, and you need dozens of them just to open the doors. So the person selling you the dream shows you the quarters clinking into the machine. What they don't show you is the utility bill. Water. Gas or electricity to heat that water. More electricity to run the dryers. A laundromat is, secretly, a small industrial energy operation disguised as a corner shop, and utilities can eat a huge slice of what those machines bring in. The margin on a wash isn't what it looks like from the lobby. So if the machine itself is expensive to run and expensive to fix, where does $100,000 in yearly cash actually come from? Which brings us to the real secret of this business, and it has almost nothing to do with detergent. Here's where the money actually comes from, and it's not the wash cycle. It's the customer who has no other option. Think about who actually walks through that door. It's the renter in the apartment with no hookups. It's the family who can't drop $400 on their own machine, let alone the repair when it breaks. It's the person whose own washer just died and doesn't have the cash to replace it this month. None of these people are choosing you because they love doing laundry in public. They're choosing you because owning the alternative is out of reach. You are not in the business of cleaning clothes. You are renting out ownership itself, 20 minutes at a time, to people who can't afford the real thing. And that's exactly why this business does something almost no other retail business does. It gets busier when times get harder. When the economy tightens, more people get squeezed out of the own-your-own-machine tier and pushed down into the rent-a-machine tier. Foot traffic goes up precisely when everyone else's foot traffic is falling off a cliff. Now, once you understand that the real product is access, the rest of the model makes sense. First, cash. A huge share of what comes in is quarters and small bills, paid in person, on the spot. No invoicing, no chasing down late payments, no 30-day terms. The money is in the box before the customer walks out the door. Second, density of use. A single washer that runs 4 loads a day makes real money. A washer that sits empty for 6 hours makes nothing. The machine costs the same either way, whether it's spinning or silent. So the entire game is filling machines, hour after hour, which is why location is everything. You want foot traffic, renters, density, not a strip mall on the edge of town. Third, the quiet moneymaker most people never mention. The vending machines by the door, the change machine that takes a small cut on every conversion, the card-based laundry apps that upsell a wash and fold service. None of it is the wash cycle. All of it drops close to pure profit onto a customer who's already standing there for 45 minutes with nothing else to do. And here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Because your customer is renting access, not buying a product, they don't disappear when money gets tight. They multiply. A slow economy doesn't shrink your market. It grows it. Which sounds like the perfect recession-proof machine. It mostly is. But there's a version of this business that quietly bleeds you dry, and it starts with one single decision. Here's the rule of this business. Fill the machines, and the cash takes care of itself. Here's the exception. The wrong location fills nothing, and the machines don't care. The single biggest trap in this business is picking a spot based on rent instead of density. A cheap lease on the edge of town looks brilliant on the spreadsheet and is a disaster in practice, because your entire model depends on renters without hookups walking distance away. No density, no customers, and 30 expensive machines sit there silently depreciating whether anyone uses them or not. Second, this is a genuinely capital-intensive business hiding behind a low labor front. 30 commercial washer-dryer pairs isn't pocket change, and every single one is a depreciating asset on a clock. Machines don't last forever, and when a batch of them reaches the end of its life around the same time, you're staring down a bill that can wipe out a year or more of profit in one swing. Third, the equipment fights back. Bearings, belts, coin mechanisms, gas lines, vent systems. A broken dryer isn't just a repair bill, it's a dead machine sitting there, earning $0 every hour it's out of service, in a business built entirely on machine hours. Fourth, cash businesses attract two kinds of trouble: break-ins targeting the coin boxes and vandalism from people who treat an unattended room like nobody's problem. An unmonitored laundromat late at night is an unattended room full of machinery and cash. You either eat the security cost or you eat the losses. And fifth, the one that sneaks up on operators. Utilities aren't fixed. Water rates climb, energy prices spike, and unlike a lot of small businesses, you can't easily pass those costs straight through. Your competitor down the street is still charging the old price on their machines, and quarters don't round up easily. Quick note on geography: these figures are US flavored. Utility costs, machine prices, and margins swing by region and by country. So is the recession-proof cash machine actually worth it? Let's run the real numbers. So basically, you were never in the laundry business. You're in the machine access business, renting out ownership to people who can't afford the real thing. And the harder the economy gets, the more customers you get. Napkin 1. A laundromat on the cheap edge of town, rent was the deciding factor, density was an afterthought. Machines sit half empty most of the day. Utilities eat the thin margin that's left. A batch of machines all fail around the same year, and the repair bill wipes out the profit. That's not a cash machine. That's a room full of expensive equipment slowly losing money. Napkin 2. A laundromat in a dense rental neighborhood, walking distance from thousands of apartments with no hookups. Machines run from 6 a.m. to midnight. The vending machines and the card app add a steady stream on top. Cash comes in every single day, in small bills, no invoicing required. That's the version that quietly throws off 6 figures a year while you're at your actual job. Same 30 machines. The only variable that mattered was who was close enough to need them. So here's your go or no-go. If you're chasing no employees, no work, walk away. The machines will find a way to make work for you. But if you understand this is a density and maintenance business wearing a coin slot disguise, and you can find the block where people genuinely have no other option, it can be one of the quietest cash machines in small business. A laundromat doesn't sell clean clothes. It rents out the machine you couldn't afford to own, and it gets busier every time somebody else can't afford theirs. So what should I run the napkin math on next? Drop the business in the comments. You decide.